Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a spread walkthrough. This is a series on my channel where I like to talk you through a tarot spread, something that you can use in your own practice, either for divinatory readings, personal growth readings, stuff for yourself, stuff for others, whatever works for you. That is the point of this series. And today we're going to be talking about relationship readings, or more specifically, the me, them, us spread. Today's spread was actually a request from a subscriber, so thank you to Elizabeth for the request and the suggestion. Remember, if you have suggestions or requests for spreads you want to see me cover in this series, please don't forget to leave them in the comments down below. And while you're there, hit the like button, subscribe, do all the things. I love to make videos about tarot. So with that, let's get into it. Now I'm going to be using the Real Talk Tarot today. This is a super fun mass market deck that is totally based in like everyday life. It's got a really fun modern take to it. I'm going to keep the guidebook out in case we decide we want to reference that at all. But let me give you an idea of what the artwork looks like. That's the back of the deck, and this is what we're looking at. Very modern and fun. This is a really affordable deck, by the way. Really pleased with this one. Picked it up while I was traveling in May, and I am absolutely delighted with it. Now let's talk for a minute about relationship readings, because there is an ethical quandary that sometimes comes up for people, because there is an ethical question around doing relationship readings for yourself involving you and another person, because we often will say, or you'll hear people talk about third-party readings when it comes to tarot. So I want to talk a little bit about that briefly, where I sit on it, and ways you can approach it if you want to do a reading about dynamics between you and another person, or something going on with you and another person. When you hear tarot readers talk about a third-party reading, what they're talking about is when if somebody were to come to me and ask me to do a reading on how their mom's doing, for example, that's a third-party reading, because what they're really asking me to do is do a reading about somebody else who isn't present for the reading. They are a third party, okay? So they want to know how somebody else is doing, or if they want to know what somebody's thinking about them, it's kind of like divination spying, okay? That's what I classify as a third-party reading, and that is personally what's outside the bounds of ethical reading for me personally. And everybody has to kind of come up with their own feelings on ethics. I have a whole video I did, sort of a deep dive into tarot ethics in, I believe, a member video. But in any case, essentially where I sit on this is that I am happy to read for you or read for myself any situation that involves the person being read for. So if you want to know about dynamics between you and another person, that falls well within the range of what is affecting you, because it's a relationship between you and that person. But if you want to, let's say you broke up with somebody 6 months ago and you want me to tell you what they're thinking about you, that's when I kind of feel like it's spying. And that's sort of my personal line in the sand where that's concerned. But I do readings all the time about the dynamics between me and another person. And this simple 3-card spread, the me, them, us spread, is a very, very easy and accessible way to learn about your relationship with another person, check in about your relationship with another person as it pertains to how that person's relationship affects or their energy affects you. So I will give some examples. So let's say I'm reading for my dog Shayla next to me, who's clearly bored out of her ever-loving mind. And let's just do a reading for me. This is a little bit silly because I'm doing it for my dog, but I just want to give you the idea of how this sort of reading works, and then we'll go from there. So the idea of me, them, us is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to pull a card that represents me in the relationship, one that represents them, and then where we overlap. So in a way, I am looking for what's going on from their perspective, what's going on from mine, and then where it's like a Venn diagram, where the two meet and what's going on between us. So I lay this out exactly like it sounds. I'm going to first lay down a card to represent me. I'm going to do right now, thinking about me and my doggo Shayla. So here's me, strength. Okay, that's pretty funny, actually. But anyways, okay, let's get zoomed in. Okay, so there's the card representing me. And then here's the card representing Shayla. And here's what lies between us. The 7 of Cups. Okay, that's pretty awesome. So here's what's happening, I think. So on the left, you have the card that represents me. And we have the Strength card here, but you actually see somebody with a lion and they're literally on a walk. Okay, so to me, this very much feels like this is sort of my maybe perspective of what our relationship looks like. Like, okay, we go for these very structured walks. That's what we do. This is our dynamic. Meanwhile, over here where Shayla's sitting next to me, she keeps looking up when I say her name, we have the Three of Cups, which is all about connection and sharing time together, but it's not so specific as this. In fact, I would venture to say that the Three of Cups has more of a party and play atmosphere to it. It's a little less structured feeling. So I feel like from where Shayla's concerned, she's like, I just want to play. Like, it doesn't need to be this like structured specific walk. I just want to play. And I'm over here like, well, structured walks kind of fit in my lifestyle right now. So this is kind of where I'm coming from. So what is the overlapping point between where Shayla is and what she sort of wants or is expecting or what she's thinking about and what I'm thinking about? And we have the Seven of Cups. And here we have a person at a cafe. They're sort of figuring out what they want to order. There's more of a decision-making vibe to this particular Seven of Cups. But typically the Seven of Cups is about considering options, possibilities. So how could I maybe unstructure things a little bit so that she gets a little bit of playtime without completely giving up what I need in the relationship, right? So in this case, I might make a little time before our evening walk to just play with her a little bit, wrestle and play with her a little bit, give her some direct one-on-one attention. And that could be a good way to navigate that situation. Now, I realize I just got into the whole realm of pet readings, and that's probably deserves its own topic, but let's do another example reading, this time for a faux relationship. So I'm going to grab, let's see, we're going to read for Beau and Jonathan. And Beau and Jonathan have been dating for, I don't know, 6 months. And Beau wants to know how things are going. So he wants to do a me, them. He's going to read for himself. So he's going to do a me, them, us spread. Now, if I was reading for Beau, I would read Beau, James. Is that what I said his name was? Okay, so I would pull a card for Beau, pull a card for James, and then pull what's between them. Same idea, but I'm going to do this as if Beau is reading for himself, okay? I guess it doesn't matter. I guess whether he's reading for himself or I'm reading for him, it's the same thing. So me overthinking things as usual. So we need a card for Beau, a card for James, and a card for what's between them. Okay. So we have Beau in the Justice card. James, Three of Cups again, interesting. And then in the middle, we have, wait, I didn't shuffle those very well. Let's just pull, I'm going to pull different cards just because I want to make sure we can talk about different cards. So here's James's card now. It's the Eight of Swords. Perfect. And between them is the Three of Swords. This isn't looking real great, okay, for Beau and James. Poor Beau and James. Here's the first thing that I noticed. Both the Justice card and the Eight of Swords traditionally are showing somebody that's kind of not looking outward. They're looking inward. So this immediately tells me that Beau is really focused, turning inward, looking at sort of themselves and their situation and whether or not, in this case with Justice being the card, I would say Beau's coming at this relationship from the perspective of give and take, and perhaps he's very focused on reciprocity. He's maybe a little bit transactional in his relationships. So he's like, I'm putting in X, Y, Z. I want to make sure I'm getting out of it X, Y, Z. And so there's this fairness focus for Beau and like trying to like, he wants everything to feel very equal in the give and take perspective. And that can be emotionally, it's not just always intangible acts of service or things like that, but Beau wants things to feel connected, but also sort of feel like he's getting out what he's putting into the relationship. There's still, though, with that blindfold, the idea that Beau's very focused on what he's hoping to get out of this or what he wants to feel. And that's a very human thing. There's no judgment there. But then over here, James is in the Eight of Swords. And the Eight of Swords is also a card that often has somebody blindfolded. Now, in this deck, the character is sort of like receiving a F on a paper and is just feeling very like maybe a little bit hopeless, a little bit stuck, not sure what to do next. They feel like things aren't going well. And so here in the Eight of Swords, I feel like James is overthinking the heck out of everything and probably feeling like he's not giving Beau what he needs. Maybe he's feeling like he's not measuring up in some way. There's a lot of sort of internal judgment in this particular card. So I'd be like, interesting. So perhaps there's been some words exchanged where, well, let me get into that. So then we have the Three of Swords in between the two of them. So we have Beau, we have James, and in between we have the Three of Swords, and it's a phone. And the Three Swords, you almost get the idea that there's maybe an unpleasant text exchange. Perhaps they're not communicating very well. Probably they're not communicating very well because we have, of course, three very air-focused cards. Justice is associated with the sun sign of Libra, which you don't need to know, but it is a very air-focused card, and you can remember that by just noticing that in a lot of Justice cards, there's a sword present, and sword is the suit of air. So that can kind of like lock you into that element if you need the reminder. And then Three of Swords is, of course, air, and Eight of Swords is air. So it's a very mental/communicative reading. It tells me that where there are issues and hiccups for Beau and James, it's around communication, it's around how they're expressing themselves to one another. And my suspicion, looking at this as a reader, based on what I know maybe Beau's kind of focused on, and what James is kind of focused on. I get the feeling that maybe Beau has been a little critical, perhaps, has maybe hinted at or made it clear that he's not feeling he's getting enough back out of the relationship. And that's causing James, not causing, but that's definitely influencing James to feel very like, I'm messing up, or I'm not good enough, or I'm not, I'm not doing what I need to be doing. That sort of stuck feeling of like, I'm getting an F on the paper. There's this sort of feeling. And probably that's coming out in how they're communicating with one another. The Three of Swords with this text Three of Swords is kind of telling to me. And so if I were reading for them, I would say, okay, this is what's going on right now. What needs to happen is that both of you need to look at each other instead of only at like yourselves, which I'm not saying that they're being selfish, but both of them have sort of blinders on and are only looking at the relationship through their own lens. And if they want to move the relationship forward, if they want to come to a place that feels better for both of them, they're going to need to look at each other instead of just being in this inward focused place, and then really work on communicating in a more heart-centered way so that they're not accidentally or otherwise hurting each other with their words and their choice of how they're communicating. So as you can see, there's a lot you can get out of a simple 3-card me, them, us spread, or, person 1, person 2, and both people together, however you want to refer to that spread. So I'm just going to shuffle these back in. And let's do another reading. This time, let's pick something that's not romantic at all. So let's go, let's say you're having trouble with a neighbor. Let's say your name is Kathy, and your neighbor's name is Bruno. Apparently, I have my dogs on the brain. And so Kathy is having troubles with her neighbor Bruno. She doesn't know what's up. It's just like every time they have an interaction, it just seems unnecessarily tense. She's trying to figure out what the heck is going on. So we're going to pull a card for Kathy, pull a card for Bruno, and then pull a card for what's between them and just see what we can figure out. Kathy, we have the Chariot. Bruno, we have the 9 of Wands. And then between them, we have the Tower. This is not looking good. What the heck? So I have a feeling that they have a dispute about... Okay, here's my suspicion. There's a couple different places I could take this in a real world perspective, right? And I might ask Kathy some questions in this scenario if I was reading for her and she was right in front of me as opposed to like a distance reading, that sort of thing. I might ask, has there been an argument or a specific debate about a very specific issue? Because I'm getting either driveway or something about scheduling. So for example, when I see the Chariot in a context like this one, I might go, are you guys arguing over where you're parking your car? Or is it that maybe your neighbor works nights and you work days? And so they're trying to protect. We have the 9 of Wands, which is very much a protective card. They're trying to sort of hold the line. They're trying to sort of defend something that's important to them. Perhaps it is a... it's their sleep schedule, perhaps. Like if I had this happen, which is probably why it's come to mind, but where if you've got a neighbor that's like works nights and you work days and you're doing stuff at a time when they're trying to sleep, it can create this real tense relationship, even though neither of you have maybe even talked about it directly. And if you're in like, say, an upper lower, or you're in a shared suite or something like that, there could be issues around who's parking where and how they're parking. Maybe the neighbor has a specific place they want to park and you're always in their spot. So what I'm seeing is like, Kathy in this case feels like she's very kind of oblivious to what's going on. She's focused on just her day-to-day routine. She's focused on getting things done. She's not doing anything she's aware is causing any problems. She's just getting this tension from Bruno, the neighbor. And here, Bruno's got the 9 of Wands, and it's talking about like sort of the last push towards getting something done. There's this, in this case, it's like somebody with a social media account, and they're at 999 followers. And there's this like, they're not quite at that 1,000 followers yet, which is very relatable to social media. But this almost there, creator, dreamer, doer. There's a bunch of little keys on here, but it almost looks like we're looking at an Instagram profile page is how this is sort of laid out. So a couple things I'm thinking is like he's trying to accomplish something and something keeps interrupting what he's trying to accomplish. So like every time he gets like a couple steps forward, he's taking a couple steps back and he feels like he's spinning his wheels. And here she is just kind of doing her own thing. So I would try to find out with the neighborly situation what the dynamics are physically between them. If there's an issue, if she's aware that he works nights, that's the first place my brain went. So intuitively, that's where I would go. He's trying to defend, protect, something and get something done, and she's just kind of being oblivious. So a conversation needs to happen. But when I talk about what's between them, whatever this is, if it's not addressed, if they don't have a blunt, direct conversation about it, it's going to go badly, right? There's going to be a big sort of drama that neither one of them wants or needs, right? So this one, I might even pull a clarifier and say, okay, what is it that he's protecting? She's clearly oblivious. So I might, in this case, go, what is it that Bruno's trying so hard to either accomplish, or what is he protecting? Can I get some clarity on that specifically? And so I might pull a clarifier. King of Swords. So there's something here around King of Swords is the business leader. I'm getting the feeling like he's used to having things kind of done his way. So there's something nitpicky here. I don't think it's something that's like really interfering with him in a major way. It's something about, I think on his part, probably feeling like things have to go a certain way or it'll all fall apart. So a little bit of attachment to control or attachment to being meticulous. There's something here. It's something probably very small that's very easy for Kathy to fix. Where Bruno's concerned, so that he feels like his life can be ordered again, right? So I might say, okay, what should Kathy do, or how should she check in and ask so that she can prevent this tower? So I could do another clarifier. This is how we build readings organically, right? So what does she need to do? And I have the Ace of Swords. She just needs to literally communicate directly. If she asks him, hey, I've noticed that you seem kind of stressed. You know, I know that I haven't been living here long. I'm just making this up. I don't know. I know I haven't been living here very long. Is everything going okay? Is there anything that I could do to, I don't know, you know, that kind of thing. Like check in very directly, because he'll tell you if you ask him directly. That's what I get for Kathy, right? If you just hit it head on, don't pussyfoot around, like get right in there and like just ask the question, you'll get the answer. That's what I get from that. So let's take now one last example, and let's do an example of the you, them, us, me, them, us spread. I don't know why I cannot get that out of my mouth today, but I can't. So let's take one more example, and this example will be a familial relationship. So let's say this is between cousins, and everything seems fine, but maybe I'm really worried. Let's say, not me, let's pick people. Let's see. Let's say, Viru and Natalia are cousins. And Vera is just really, really worried and is really being affected because Natalia seems to be like really quiet, more reserved lately, and Vera's worried. So it's affecting Viru. So we're still in that reign of like what's affecting Viru, what is within the scope of Viru's life to be able to like address it without prying. So Viru's really worried, has been stressed. Maybe Natalia and Viru typically talk on the phone every day, but for some reason lately he feels like maybe Natalia's been dodging his phone calls, and he's like, this is my cousin, like I'm worried about her, what do I need to know, kind of thing. So let's pull a card for Viru and a card for Natalia, and then we'll see what is going on between them, or maybe what Viru needs to do to bridge the gap, which will be our center card. So card for Viru, card for Viru, card for Natalia, and a card for between them. Okay. Sometimes I like to pull cards that way if I feel like they're clumping up a little bit. Okay. So Vera's card is the King of Cups. Natalia's card is the High Priestess. Interesting. And the card between them is the Four of Cups. So at first glance, here's what I get. Viru really wants to be caring and compassionate and be there for Natalia, and doesn't like that she seems, you know, sad or quiet or withdrawn, really wants to like help fix it. He's very much in fix it mode, right? The King of Cups is like the listener, like he really wants to like be there for her, and she's over here kind of in her own world. Like the High Priestess can be a little bit like a little hermity. Perhaps she's recently had some realizations about herself, something small. Maybe she realized she's on the wrong school path and she's going to want to change her major. So she's kind of just, she's not really ready to talk about it yet. Maybe she's not even ready maybe she's not even clear entirely on what she wants to do differently, but something different. She definitely wants something different, a change. We're seeing that when we see the Four of Cups between them, like this is the energy that's affecting both of them, is her sort of being withdrawn, having this sort of ennui, or this sort of kind of like meh kind of energy. She doesn't seem her normal vibrant self. So this is what Vera's been picking up on. And I think what's going on in this case for Natalia is that, or Natalie, I forget what names we're working with. Anyways, what's going on for Natalia, we're just going to go with Natalia now because that's what's in my head, is that she's been just trying to figure things out, and she's still in a place where she's not really ready to tip her hand and tell Viru what's going on. She's still sorting it out. I think once she's able to articulate it properly, I think she'll be able to tell him what's going on. But if he wants to know what to do to support her, I would say based on these 3 cards, the best thing he could do is just to say, hey, Viru, I've noticed you're a little bit like distant lately. It's no big deal. I know you've probably got a lot on your mind, but if you ever want to talk, I'm here. And just like throw the offer out on the table and let Natalia decide if she wants to take him up on it or not. So this is a great way to say, okay, it's probably no big deal. She's probably in the midst of sorting some things out, and she just isn't quite ready to tip her hand and share her secrets just yet. Okay, so these are just some ways that I would interpret these 3 cards in this kind of spread position. If you use a me, them, us card, or if you do this kind of reading for other people, I would love to hear some of your thoughts and experiences down below, and I'm sure other people who find this video would also appreciate that. So if you work with this kind of a spread, maybe share your thoughts below and share your thoughts on third-party readings. Please remember that, you know, ethics is a thing that we need to decide for ourselves and what we're comfortable with, and there is no like officially this is the correct way to do things. And you really got to figure that stuff out for yourself. These are my sort of my take on it and how I would approach this kind of thing. You'll notice that in all of these readings, what I didn't do was go, well, Viru, here's what's going on for Natalia, and made it all about that. What you'll notice is that in every single reading, what I do is I always bring it back to how it's impacting the primary person being read for, whether that's me, whether that is Viru, whether that is Bo, whoever we're reading for. Kathy, I always bring it back to them. What do they need to do? What is their next step based on that central card? So it's not just FYI, this is what's going on with the other person, which again, to me feels like a third-party reading. It's like, this is what's going on. This is why there's conflict between you, or why things feel funky, or what you need to know about the 2 of you. And here's what action step you should take to improve that situation or to benefit from that situation. You know, here's the next thing to try. And that's the point, is that you want to have this be, in my perspective, and the way that I work with cards and how I approach this kind of reading, is to have it be something that like is just, it's functional, right? Like you're dealing with the question, you're giving actionable steps, and everybody gets what they need out of that, and there's no unnecessary prying. And that's my sort of comfort zone with this kind of a reading. So I hope this was helpful. Elizabeth, I hope this helped. You were the one that requested this, so I hope this helped you. As always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn Fam channel members. If you want to learn more about channel membership, you can click on the join button down below this video, or go to my channel homepage and you'll find a join button there. I also have a link to our membership information in the description box. I need to film a new video, but we do lots of fun things in there. I have several tiers. And we have a book club in our basic tier. I do live stream readings once a month, like a big, massive live stream, like marathon live stream for members, where I give readings once a month for the Magical Unicorn tier and up, and share some exclusive videos and behind the scenes things. And then for Badass Unicorns, we do some extra deep personal sharing and work. We have a Self-Worth Saturday live stream where we really unpack some real personal self-worth stuff. And we are currently going through my book, The Self-Worth Path, and talking through subjects related to that book, but you don't have to read the book to take part in those with us. In any case, we do a lot of fun things in the membership, and I'd love to have you if you're interested. But as always, I really appreciate all of my member support, so thank you so, so much. And for everybody watching the channel, thank you for being here and spending your time here. And until next time, may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye!